Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, please subscribe. I'd really love that. If you're returning, how you doing? All right, listen. Lessons learned, right? Lessons learned. So, apparently, leaders must prepare now to make difficult, critically important decisions with limited information in the early days of the pandemic in order to increase the chances that a dangerous outbreak can be contained at the source. Okay. In the early days of a major new epidemic, there could be a brief window of opportunity to stop it from becoming a pandemic. Now, to successfully contain an outbreak, decisive and bold action would need to be taken in the face of incomplete data, high scientific uncertainty, and potential political resistance. And we saw all of that, right? Now, thinking through such challenges, preparing in advance to react effectively, and practicing through both high-level tabletop and operational exercises should start now. It may seem like all of these critical policy decisions have been resolved during the CV pandemic, but they have not. Now, there's a simulation that has been done, okay, and it was done in October. I believe it was October 22nd, October 25th, something like that, okay? And even a group of some of the wisest and most experienced international public health leaders who lived through the CV-19 wrestled with opposing views on whether countries should impose travel restrictions or to close schools to try and contain a serious new epidemic that was disproportionately affecting children. Well, as parents, you know, because I know a lot of you are parents just like me, okay? I'm raising my niece, right? I have two grandchildren, 7 and 8. And I thank the Lord above every day that they never got sick. My Lord. It was bad enough that me and Sean and Andrew, Jesse, we all were affected by this, right? Now, the exercise raised a pivotal question. If future pandemics have a much higher lethality than CV-19, or for example, if they affect predominantly children, which, my God, I hope not ever, would or should countries take different, stronger, earlier measures to contain it? And what are those measures? Well, in my opinion, our children are our future. So any measure to protect our children is what should be done. But what measures are they talking about here? You know, me personally, I would go to the ends of the earth for my children. You know, I mean, they're mine. You know, I raise them. I love them. I care for them. I would lay my life down for them. But that's any mom, any dad, any grandparent, any aunt, any uncle. I would do anything, you know, and I know that you feel the same. Now, these are not purely public health and scientific decisions. They will be made by the leaders in the context of political, economic, and social realities that can be anticipated, considered in advance through routine simulations and operational exercises. We can strategically prepare for such challenges ahead of time. Okay, I understand that, but what are these simulations? What do they entail? The more effectively we can research scientific and practical consensus on the best approach to very hard but foreseeable problems, the more we will be ready in the future to protect lives and national economies. Political leaders, in addition to health leaders, must be at the table during exercises to respond effectively during the next pandemic. Okay, yes, I agree. But I want to know every single detail. Because if my children, my niece, my nephew, my grandchildren, could possibly be affected, I need to know. I am not on a need to know basis. I need to know now, in advance. Now, so it goes on to say, countries should establish a global network of professional public health leaders who can work together to improve epidemic preparedness and response and strive for consensus on scientific issues in advance for the next major outbreak. Okay, are you telling me that there's going to be another major outbreak? Well, go on then. Tell me, so I can be prepared. I am someone of the prepared mind. Please tell me. I need to know. There is no existing worldwide professionalized network of public health preparedness and response leaders who can work together between and during epidemics to better prepare all countries and provide mutual aid and sharing of best practices during serious epidemics, establishing an international network of national public health leaders along the lines of the professionalized pandemic corps referred to in the exercise could substantially help countries save lives and livelihoods during major epidemics and recover more quickly. There's a pandemics corps? Really? So political leaders who are entrusted with keeping their citizens safe could benefit from the consensus views offered by such a group rather than having to make impromptu, high-consequence political, not political policy. It could be both, really. Decisions when lives are at stake during dangerous outbreaks. And countries should prioritize efforts to increase trust in governments and public health. Well, that's a little hard. It's a little hard to do, especially when you have someone like you know who has no one's trust. Improve public health communication efforts, increase the resiliency of populations to misleading information, and reduce the spread of harmful misinformation. Well, yes, I totally agree. No one wants to hear lies. No one wants to hear misinformation or misleading information. No one wants to hear that. No one. We want to know right away exactly what to do at any given moment. We want to hear the truth and the whole truth and nothing but the truth. So help them, God. In future pandemics, we should continue to expect even more major disruptions from misinformation and disinformation. Exactly. So if I were to come across information that I have gotten off of any source, I want to be able to, and you don't know about it, I want to be able to give it to you. If I get it from my doctor, I want to be able to give it to you. And hope and pray that someone doesn't deem it to be misinformation. But if I got it from my doctor, it's not misinformation, right? I'll go on. The WHO can be a globally trusted source. And it can share science and public health information widely, but we should not expect it alone to combat or put a stop to the spread of this mis and disinformation. Countries need to collaborate and to anticipate that threat and prepare to combat it with their own laws and procedures. Just as many types of economic and societal harms can be anticipated and accounted for in pandemic preparedness plans. Well, that's what I'm all about. Preparedness plans. I want to be prepared for everything. So, can predictable false, misleading health messaging? No one wants that. No one. Concertedly exploring ways to address this phenomena on a national level in advance of the next pandemic will be crucial to saving lives. I absolutely agree. But when you're speaking from experience, your own point of view of what actually happened to you, that's not misinformation. That is speaking from, this is what exactly happened to me. That's not misinformation. Like when I had it, oh my goodness gracious me. It's terrible. It's terrible. But I think that speaking from experience and letting my community know this is what happened to me, so maybe this is what you can expect to experience if you were to ever receive this. I don't think that's misinformation. It's lessons learned. Yes? So, when a WHO member states should strengthen international systems for sharing and allocating scarce public health resources, groundbreaking global collaborations such as the ACT Accelerator and COVAX were launched during the CV pandemic. However, public health leaders still lack confidence in current approaches to fairly allocate medical countermeasures during a future pandemic. Okay, here we go again. Are you trying to warn me and my community that there is another one coming shortly? Just asking. Even if there were a global commitment around equity for all countries, implementing equitable allocation will continue to be very difficult in the future, especially if there are practical challenges, special requirements like refrigeration, administration, IV administration. Empowering all regions of the world to save lives during a pandemic would increase equitable access to life-saving treatments and vaccines. Therefore, we need to build up manufacturing, distribution, administration capacities around the world, paying particular attention to countries with poor infrastructure. This should happen now rather than during a growing pandemic. Well, yes, I agree. But I think with CV, it hit us so fast, so hard. We didn't have time. The public didn't have time. They didn't tell us right away. I don't know. And I'm not going to claim to know either. That would be stupid of me, wouldn't it? And it is clear from the catastrophic contagion, or this simulation, that even after the terrible impact of CV, more preparedness work needs to be done. Well, of course. But I think more preparedness work needs to be done also on our end, on the civilian end. And new decisions need to be made, absolutely. And additional resources committed, sure, but on our end as well. We need to expand the limits of our ability to respond. Well, sure. That's why people like us of the prepared mind, we need to be prepared. That's why we like to read and we like to research and we like to watch the videos that we watch so we can be prepared. And people who are of the prepared mind, we're not stupid. We know misinformation when we see it, when we hear it. And we're the first ones to call people out, to dislike, to click off. We're the first ones to call BS. So, I myself, I have children, a 12-year-old, 7-year-old, 8-year-old, grandchildren. What would be my next step? Well, I'm going to stock up. I'm going to prepare myself. And I suggest you do too. Do we know what this next pandemic will be? No, we do not. Could we try and figure it out? Sure. But I'm not a doctor, unless you are, you know. So, if there's any doctors in the building, raise your hand, email me. But, you know, this is going to be a tough one. So, what are my suggestions? Well, go through JASE, J-A-S-E, medical, and stock up on your antibiotics if you can. Stock up on your OTCs. Stock up on your whatever you can to build your immune systems. Don't delay. Why would you want to delay? Get your first aid kits in order. And no, I'm not just talking about Band-Aids and gauze. First aid kits include a lot of things. Pulse oximeters, blood pressure cuffs, and the like. So, there's a lot of things that we could all be doing right now. To prepare ourselves for what may be coming. Am I saying, yep, sure is? Nope, I'm not. But it might. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Okay? You stay safe. You stay positive. You keep prepping. And as always, fear less. Ciao.